Good morning class, welcome back. We are dealing with the chapter tertiary sector and the topics we have been covering, the different modes of transportation, different modes of communication, the channels which actually help in the growth and development of the country. The transportation acts as a wings to the economy. With these wings only, the economy flies. The service sector or the tertiary sector, the one which provides the services to the general masses, is all because of the smooth running of transportation channel. In the discussion, we have already discussed about the rail transport and the road transport. The two videos have been uploaded on rail transport and road transport. At the same time, we even have come across the comparison between the rail transport and road transport. Now, today we have another topic, another mode of communication, another mode of transportation, that is water transport. Water transport. Coming to the history of water transport, how it is that we are using water transportation. During the early times or in ancient times, when there was no as such development, no particular mode of communication was available, no mode of transportation were available, this was the only mode on which our ancestors relied on. They were dependent on this mode of communication only, water transportation. All the railway transportation, air transportation or the road transportation, these all are invented after water transportation. Means the water transportation acted as a seed which gave the thought to develop other modes of communication. Our ancestors during the early times basically relied on this mode of communication only. So it is the oldest, cheapest and the best mode to carry the heavy loads. Bulky goods can be carried on water transport. But when I say bulky goods, I have to talk about its limitations here. The limitations are a ship can handle a limited amount of weight only, else it will sink. First reason. Second limitation is limited amount of navigation or limited amount of seaports are there in India. There are 12 major seaports in India. So it creates difficulties for the shipping or agencies or the water inland agencies to maintain the trade throughout the country. There are 12 major seaports and some minor seaports are there. Major seaports are handled by the central government and minor seaports are handled by the state government. The limitations are it cannot carry a very heavy load, but it can carry heavy loads. 10 line of difference. Second is, in our country, like the road transporting, the roads are connected even in the remote areas. But as far as water transport is concerned, this has the limitations of connectivity. There are some major seaports only and most of the seaports are in the southern part of the country. Southern part are blessed with the seaports. Like for example, you have Kerala, you have Tamil Nadu, you have Andhra Pradesh. Then if you move this side, you come across West Bengal, Odisha. These are the areas where the major seaports are seen. About 50 million of cargo is carried on by the inland waterways. 50 million, around 50 million cargo is carried on. This on a daily basis, the trade takes place. So it's a helping hand to the service sector. It is a helping hand to the service sector or tertiary sector. It creates employment opportunities, but not up to that extent which we saw in the railway sector or in the road transporting sector. But it creates, it is a helping hand and it creates. There are some urgencies with the progress on, or with the time the development takes place. Whenever the need arises, the development takes place. So was the case with the shipping agencies given. They were not given an authorized agency code, or their shipping authorization were not recognized until and unless their importance were valued and came to be known. Then these organizations, or the inland organizations, were given a government recognition. We'll see the years on which these companies or these inland waterways were given a government nominations by the government of India. So there are two major modes of water transport. One is inland waterway and the other is shipping. First we will talk about the inland water transport. What is inland water transport? It is a cheap and energy efficient mode of transport for bulky goods. It says for bulky goods, but when we compare it with the railways, we find it that railway carries more of the bulky goods, because in railway there is no as such limitation of sinking or overflowing or floating. But here the inland waterways have the limitations. If they originate and terminate on a particular navigable stream, in ancient time inland water transport was of great significance. I told you it is from the earlier times only. From the ancient time, our ancestors have used this system. And today when we are using this, but with certain limitations. The major river in our country is basically Brahmaputra and Ganga. All else have dried up, or they have synchronized their limitations or their areas. That is why this sector is losing its importance. In India, it is limited to certain rivers like the Ganga and the Brahmaputra of the canals and the deltas of Krishna and Godavari. It is quite popular in, I told you in India, the southern part basically rules over the water transport, and the southern areas basically or southern states which are, like for example, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal. These are the major areas where the seaports are located. Though India has a total navigable waterways of 14,544 km, but only 5,200 km on major rivers and 500 km on canals were suitable for mechanized crafts. Now, as far as the area is concerned, or the network of seaport is concerned, it is something around 14,544 km. But the area which is occupied by the major seaports are just around 5,200 km, which is the sad part of it. Means the major seaports needs to come up more, or the river system needs to come up more if it wishes to spread its wings throughout the country. About 44 million tons of cargo is carried out by inland water transport. That is what I told you, about 50 million tons. But here it is 44 million tons of cargo is carried out. But the rough data, it is a book prescribed, the old book, the NEEM data says that around 50 million tons of cargo is carried out through water transport. So it's basically a helping hand. But the saddest part of this sector could have grown more. Why it has not grown is a big question for the government of India. Because the rivers are drying up or synchronizing. Now the need for a Central Inland Water Transport Corporation Limited was set up in the year 1967 to look after national waterways. Now why did this need arise? Because it became a means of exchange, it became a means of trade. The trade started taking place. The moment trade takes place, it becomes profitable, the government captures it, so that it is not misutilized or mismanaged. That is why government along with the other agency nationalized this in the year 1967. It has been incurring losses while some private operators in Goa and Kolkata have shown remarkable progress. See, this is the saddest part of government organizations. They are not being profitable. They have stopped being lucrative to the government. No profit is earned from them. That is why most of the government organizations are being sold out now, or they are being transferred to the private organizations. The reason is that they are not working hard or they are not showing the progress. Whereas on the other hand, the private sectors are growing. If you see the airlines, the private sector airlines are earning millions and millions. But when you see the government organizations, they need subsidy every time. The government has to fulfill their demands. Government keeps on giving them money, keeps on giving them subsidy. In spite of that, they show a yearly loss every time. That is why the government organizations are binding up or synchronizing. The recent news was that the railway will be sold out to private organizations. The CIL, Coal India Limited, will be sold out to the private hands. The reason is very clear. These government organizations are not being lucrative, not being profitable. They are generating losses and losses every year. So that has to be improved. Now to improve, the best solution that everyone thinks of, that switching it on to the private personals. Private personals will handle it in their own manner and they will make it a profitable venture again. That is what is the saddest part. In 1986, an Inland Waterways Authority of India was set up and coordinated to implement various central schemes for development of national waterways. Now, a body was set up in the year 1986. That body is called Inland Waterways Authority of India. Like you have NHAI, National Highway Authority of India. Same way, the water transport, it is Inland Waterways Authority of India. It is a government recognized organization which actually looks after the management and the well-being of this organization, so that it turns out to be lucrative business, it turns out to be a profitable business. However, nothing remarkable took place except the declaration of the following three national highways. Nothing much has improved after being a nationalized event. The losses every year have increased progressively. So that was the sad part of it, that after being given a government recognition, there was no improvement in the earning schedule, earning part. In spite of, there were some national highways were created. State highways were given the national tag, but that did not prove to be a worthy effort from the government side. So three names are mentioned. National Waterways number 1, which is between Allahabad and Haldia, which is in West Bengal. The second is National Waterway number 2, which is in Sadia and Dhubri. Sadia is in Assam and Dhubri is in Assam. The third one is National Waterway number 3, which is in Kottapuram to Kollam. Kottapuram is in Kerala. And one more is there which has been developed recently, that is Sahibganj to Kolkata. Sahibganj in Jharkhand to Kolkata. That is the fourth national highway, national waterway, which has come recently. It has been added by the current government only, which has become a part of the Inland Waterways Authority of India. But the sad part is there is no improvement in the earning part. These organizations have been reckoning losses every year. So some management part is required to be handled carefully. That is why these organizations are switching on to the private persons now. They have been asked to transfer, they have been sold out to the private personals, so that the lucrative part can be improved. Next was shipping. Shipping is yet another mode of water transport. Indian shipping companies face tough competition from foreign companies. When these shipping companies entered into the market not to rule the trade policies or not to be a part of the exchange policy, they faced a tough competition. That competitor were the foreign companies who gave them a tough competition, and out of which the 12 major seaports came to be known as. The major seaports in India are 12, and some minor seaports are there, about 200 minor seaports are there, which are located here and there. I'll tell you the name of 12 major seaports which are in Chennai, Cochin, Ennore, Jawaharlal Nehru, name of seaport, Mangalore, Paradip, Tuticorin, and Visakhapatnam. These are the major seaports of India. And the major seaports are ruled by the central government, means the rules and the policies are planned and managed by the central government, whereas the minor seaports are managed by the state government. Means all the rules and regulations are implemented by the state government in minor seaports. Major seaports are governed by respective Port Trust Act under the control of central government, and the minor seaports are under the control of state governments. Major seaports handle about 75% of India's port traffic. Port traffic is basically the movement of goods from one port to the other port. Okay, so major seaports are handled by they handle about 75% of the trade effects. Means the 75% of the import export that takes place either within the domestic boundary of the country or to the foreign countries are handled by the major seaports. 75% of the trade. Rest of the 25% are handled by the minor seaports. Presently, India has the largest shipping fleet among the developing countries and ranks 20th in the world in terms of shipping tonnage. See, this is the ranking on the basis of the delivery, on the basis of the earning capacity which shipping companies generates. So we are 20th in the developing countries, not in the world, but in the developing countries only. This is a rating of the Indian Shipping Agency Act, which was given in the year 2012, which is perhaps the old data now. And what is the current data that we need to check out? What is where we stand in the year 2020. Now there is a advisable suggestion given over here that privatization of port facilities and services has now gathered momentum in India. I told you, in order to turn out to be a profitable part, it is better or it is advisable to switch on to private hands. Means the government is making every effort to sell out their products, sell out their ventures to the private persons, so that the losses that the companies are generating every year will reduce and synchronize into single digit, which is now into double digit. Areas that have been opened to private sector on a balance of trade basis include construction of cargo handling berths and dry docks, container and warehousing facilities, and ship repair facilities. So these are the basic areas that have been already been sold out to the private personnel. But now the plans are implemented, plans are being made to sell out the whole of the act to sell out the whole of the Cargo Act or the Indian Shipping Act to the private persons. Means let the private persons be the in charge, let them handle, and they will generate the profit. I gave you the example of the airlines, that the government airlines are recurring losses every now and then. They demand for subsidy from the government, whereas the private airlines are earning profit in lakhs and lakhs. So how it is possible that the two organizations, when they venture on the same planet, when they venture on the same route, one earns the loss, one fetches the loss, the other earns a big profit. So somewhere down the line, the management part is responsible for this, and that is why the disinvestment of the policies are planned. I told you what the term disinvestment means. It is when a government organization sells its own part in the hands of the private personnel. It is called as disinvestment. So this is the planning for the railway system, railway sector, and CIL sector, that is Coal India Limited, and the shipping sector as well. All these are planned to be sold out in the coming days to the private personnel, just to generate the maximum amount of revenue. With this, I will wind up the class, and tomorrow we shall see the civil aviation or the air transport and its importance. Your homework will be just to write a brief note on the water transport. Write a brief note on the water transport. Thank you, class.